In a small, cozy diner nestled in the heart of Los Angeles, 28-year-old Jasmine had been working as a waitress for nearly 5 years. She was known for her warm smile, quick wit, and impeccable service. But Jasmine had a secret passion. She was a huge fan of classic Hollywood films, and her all-time favorite actor was Clint Eastwood. She admired his rugged charm, his iconic roles, and the way he carried himself both on and off the screen. So, when Clint Eastwood himself walked into the diner one quiet afternoon, Jasmine could hardly believe her eyes. Her heart raced as she approached his table, trying to maintain her professionalism. She took his order, a simple black coffee and a slice of apple pie, and delivered it with a trembling hand. As she set the plate down, she mustered the courage to speak. "Mr. Eastwood, I'm such a huge fan of your work. Would you mind signing a napkin for me? It would mean the world." Clint, known for his no-nonsense demeanor, glanced up at her. He gave a curt nod and scribbled his signature on the napkin without a word. Jasmine beamed, thanking him profusely before returning to her duties. She tucked the napkin safely into her apron pocket, feeling like she'd just won the lottery. But her joy was short-lived. The next day, Jasmine was called into the manager's office. Her boss, a stern man named Greg, sat behind his desk with a frown. "Jasmine, I've had a complaint from a customer about your behavior yesterday. Asking for an autograph while on the clock is unprofessional. I'm afraid I have to let you go." Jasmine was stunned. She tried to explain, but Greg was unmoved. With a heavy heart, she cleaned out her locker and left the diner, clutching the signed napkin as a bittersweet reminder of the day her dream encounter cost her job. Word of her firing spread quickly, thanks to a regular customer who had overheard the exchange. The story made its way to social media, where it went viral. People were outraged that Jasmine had been fired for such a small, human moment. Hashtags like "Justice for Jasmine" and her autograph gate began trending, and soon the story caught the attention of national news outlets. Clint Eastwood himself heard about the incident during an interview. When asked for his thoughts, he chuckled and said, "Well, that's a first. I've signed a lot of autographs, but I've never gotten anyone fired over it. Seems like an overreaction to me." His comment only fueled the public's sympathy for Jasmine. A GoFundMe page was set up, and within days it had raised over $50,000 to support her while she looked for a new job. But the real shock came when Clint Eastwood decided to take matters into his own hands. A week after the incident, Jasmine received a phone call from an unknown number. When she answered, she heard a familiar, gravelly voice on the other end. "Jasmine, this is Clint Eastwood. I heard what happened and I want to make it right." Jasmine was speechless. Clint explained that he was opening a new restaurant in Malibu and wanted her to be the head waitress. "You've got spirit, kid," he said, "and anyone who loves my movies that much deserves a second chance." Tears filled Jasmine's eyes as she accepted the offer. The story of her firing had turned into a tale of redemption, and she couldn't believe her luck. When she showed up for her first day at the new restaurant, she was greeted with a warm welcome from Clint himself, who handed her a personalized apron with her name stitched in gold. The restaurant, named The Good, The Bad, and The Breakfast, became an instant hit, thanks in no small part to Jasmine's charm and dedication. As for the signed napkin, it was framed and hung proudly behind the counter, a reminder that sometimes even the toughest days can lead to the most unexpected blessings. As the months went by, Jasmine's life transformed in ways she could never have imagined. The restaurant thrived, drawing in crowds of locals and tourists alike, all eager to experience the unique blend of classic Hollywood charm and modern, culinary excellence. Jasmine's role as head waitress allowed her to shine, and she quickly became a beloved figure among the staff and patrons. Her warmth, professionalism, and genuine love for people made her the heart and soul of the establishment. Clint Eastwood, though often busy with his film projects, made it a point to visit the restaurant regularly. He and Jasmine developed a surprising friendship, bonding over their shared love of cinema and storytelling. Clint admired her resilience and work ethic, often joking that she was the real star of the restaurant. You've got more grit than most of the characters I've played, he told her one evening, his trademark smirk playing on his lips. One day, Clint approached Jasmine with an unexpected proposal. I've been thinking, he said, leaning against the counter. You've got a natural talent for this business. How would you like to be more than just the head waitress? I want you to be my partner in this place. You'd help run it, make decisions, and share in the profits. Jasmine was floored. Me? A partner? But I've never done anything like that before, she stammered. Clint waved off her concerns. You've got the instincts and you've got the heart. That's more important than any experience. Besides, I'll be here to guide you. What do you say? With a mix of excitement and nervousness, Jasmine accepted. She threw herself into her new role, learning the ins and outs of restaurant management. She worked closely with the chefs to develop new menu items, organize special events, and even started a charity initiative to support local food banks. The restaurant became more than just a dining spot. It became a community hub, a place where people felt welcomed and valued. As her confidence grew, Jasmine began to dream bigger. She started writing a memoir about her journey, from being fired for asking for an autograph to becoming a successful restaurateur. The book, titled From Napkin to Partner, became a bestseller, inspiring readers with its message of resilience and the power of second chances. Jasmine found herself in demand as a motivational speaker, sharing her story at conferences and events across the country. Through it all, she remained grounded, never forgetting where she came from. She made it a point to visit the old diner where she had worked, now under new management, and even offered advice to the staff. Greg, her former boss, had since moved on, but Jasmine harbored no ill will. If it hadn't been for that day, she often said, I wouldn't be where I am now. Years later, as she stood on the balcony of the restaurant overlooking the Pacific Ocean, Jasmine reflected on her incredible journey. She had gone from a struggling waitress to a successful businesswoman, all because of a chance encounter and a signed napkin. Clint joined her, handing her a glass of champagne. To you, Jasmine, he said, raising his glass. You've made this place something special. Jasmine smiled, clinking her glass against his. And to you, Clint, for giving me the chance of a lifetime. The two stood in comfortable silence, watching the sun dip below the horizon. For Jasmine, it was a moment of quiet triumph, a reminder that even the darkest days can lead to the brightest futures. And as the waves crashed against the shore below, she knew that her story was far from over. It was just beginning. As the years rolled on, Jasmine's life continued to evolve in ways she could never have predicted. The restaurant, the good, the bad, and the breakfast, became a landmark in Malibu, known not just for its delicious food and Hollywood charm, but also for the inspiring story behind its co-owner. Tourists and locals alike flocked to the restaurant, hoping to catch a glimpse of Jasmine or even Clint Eastwood, who still made regular appearances despite his busy schedule. Jasmine's partnership with Clint deepened, and the two became an unstoppable team. Clint, impressed by her business acumen and creativity, began involving her in other ventures. Together, they launched a line of gourmet sauces and spices inspired by the restaurant's most popular dishes. The products flew off the shelves, and Jasmine found herself traveling the country for promotional events, cooking demonstrations, and book signings. But Jasmine's heart remained in the restaurant. She loved the hustle and bustle of the kitchen, the laughter of the diners, and the sense of community that she had worked so hard to build. She made it a point to mentor her staff, encouraging them to pursue their dreams, just as she had. Many of her employees went on to open their own businesses, crediting Jasmine as their inspiration. One day, as she was reviewing the restaurant's finances, Jasmine had an idea. She approached Clint with a proposal to expand their brand. What if we opened more locations? She suggested. Not just in California, but across the country. We could bring the same warmth and hospitality to other cities, create more opportunities for people, and share our story on an even bigger scale. Clint, always one to appreciate bold ideas, nodded thoughtfully. I like the way you think, kid. Let's do it. And so, they began their expansion. The first new location opened in Austin, Texas, followed by Chicago, New York, and Miami. Each restaurant maintained the same charm and character as the original, but with unique touches that reflected the local culture. Jasmine traveled to each new location, ensuring that the staff was trained to uphold the high standards she and Clint had set. As the brand grew, so did Jasmine's influence. She became a prominent figure in the culinary world, earning accolades and awards for her contributions to the industry. She was invited to speak at prestigious events, including the James Beard Awards, where she shared her journey and emphasized the importance of kindness, resilience, and believing in oneself. Despite her success, Jasmine never lost sight of what mattered most. She remained deeply connected to her community, continuing her charity work and using her platform to advocate for causes close to her heart. She established a scholarship fund for aspiring chefs and restaurateurs from underserved backgrounds, ensuring that others would have the opportunities she had been given. One evening, as she sat in the original Malibu restaurant, now a bustling hub of activity, Jasmine reflected on how far she had come. The signed napkin that had started it all still hung proudly behind the counter, a symbol of her journey and the unexpected twists life can take. Clint joined her at the table, a proud smile on his face. "You've done good, Jasmine," he said. "Real good." Jasmine smiled back, her eyes glistening with gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without you, Clint. You believed in me when no one else did." Clint waved a hand dismissively. "You did the hard work. I just gave you a little nudge." As they sat there, surrounded by the laughter and chatter of happy diners, Jasmine felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had turned a moment of rejection into a lifetime of opportunity, not just for herself but for countless others, and though her journey had been filled with challenges, she knew that every step had been worth it. The story of the black waitress fired for asking for an autograph had become a legend, a testament to the power of perseverance and the magic of second chances. And as Jasmine looked out at the ocean, the sun setting in a blaze of colors, she knew that her story was far from over. There were still more dreams to chase, more lives to touch, and more adventures to come. And through it all, she would always carry with her the lesson she had learned, that sometimes the most unexpected moments can lead to the most extraordinary journeys. Years turned into decades, and Jasmine's legacy only grew stronger. The restaurant empire she and Clint had built became a household name, synonymous with quality, community, and heart. By the time Jasmine reached her 50s, she had become a cultural icon, not just for her success in the culinary world, but for her unwavering commitment to lifting others up. She was a living testament to the idea that no dream was too big and no obstacle too great. But life, as it often does, began to shift. Clint, now in his late 80s, decided to step back from the business, leaving Jasmine as the sole face of the brand. Though she missed his steady presence and dry humor, she was ready to take the reins fully. Under her leadership, the restaurants continued to thrive, and she even expanded internationally, opening locations in London, Tokyo, and Paris. Each new opening was a celebration of food, culture, and the power of human connection. Jasmine's personal life flourished too. She married Marcus, a talented chef she had met during one of her restaurant expansions, and together they raised 2 children who grew up immersed in the world of food and hospitality. Her daughter, Amara, showed a particular passion for the business, often shadowing Jasmine during her workdays and dreaming of one day running her own restaurant. Jasmine couldn't have been prouder. One day, as she was preparing for the grand opening of a new location in her hometown of Los Angeles, Jasmine received a call that stopped her in her tracks. It was from a film producer who wanted to turn her life story into a major motion picture. "Your journey is inspiring, Jasmine," the producer said. "It's a story about resilience, hope, and the power of believing in yourself. We want to share it with the world." At first, Jasmine was hesitant. She had always been a private person despite her public success. But after discussing it with Marcus and her children, she realized that her story could inspire millions of people who might be facing their own struggles. She agreed to the project on one condition: that the film stayed true to her roots and highlighted the importance of community and kindness. The movie, titled From Napkin to Legacy, was a smash hit, It starred a talented young actress who captured Jasmine's spirit perfectly, and Clint Eastwood even made a cameo as himself. The film's release brought a new wave of attention to Jasmine's restaurants, but more importantly, it sparked a global conversation about second chances and the importance of treating people with dignity and respect. As the years went on, Jasmine began to think about her legacy. She wanted to ensure that the values she had built her life and business on would continue long after she was gone. She established the Jasmine Harper Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to providing resources and opportunities for aspiring chefs, restaurateurs, and hospitality workers from underserved communities. The foundation offered scholarships, mentorship programs, and even seed funding for small businesses. In her later years, Jasmine wrote a second book, Legacy of Love, which focused on the lessons she had learned about leadership, family, and giving back. It became another bestseller, cementing her status as not just a successful entrepreneur, but a thought leader and philanthropist. One sunny afternoon, as Jasmine sat on the patio of the original Malibu restaurant, now a historic landmark, she watched as a group of young chefs from her foundation prepared a special meal for the community. The laughter and camaraderie reminded her of her early days in the diner, when her dreams were just beginning to take shape. Marcus joined her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You've built something incredible, Jasmine," he said. "Look at all these lives you've touched." Jasmine smiled, her heart full. "It was never just about me, Marcus. It was about the people who believed in me, the ones who gave me a chance, and the ones who inspired me to keep going. That's what it's all about, lifting each other up." As the sun set over the Pacific, casting a golden glow over the restaurant, Jasmine felt a deep sense of peace. She had come a long way from the young waitress who had been fired for asking for an autograph. Her journey had been filled with twists and turns, but every step had led her to this moment, a life of purpose, love, and impact. And though she knew her time in the spotlight would eventually fade, Jasmine was confident that her legacy would live on. Through her restaurants, her foundation, and the countless lives she had touched, she had created something that would endure for generations. Her story was a reminder that no matter where you start, with courage, determination, and a little bit of kindness, you can create a life that shines brightly and lights the way for others.